Spring's renewal. The tree's veins are surging with spring blood. Each flower presents to the sun one vital bud of coloured life, and I myself might almost be a tree or flower, since spring is also springing up in me. Men and flowers are much the same. When spring brings forth the leafy lane, and quiets every heart's disdain or blame, within her arms of newly pulsing green. The burden of our winter thoughts is lifted. All the dust and grime of winter is shifted from the house, and the old girls and the old boys can sense the quickened blood erupting sudden joys. Aged women combing out their hair and singing through the house without a care. Old men wondering what to wear or dare, now that life is sweet and long once more. The young man steals a glance or two or three. The young woman pretends she does not see his wandering gaze. Yet in them both there beats and sings the hope that they might fly away on new-found wings. Spring's renewal has caught them out within its lovely burgeoning rout, dispelling with one lusty shout all doubt, and throwing life to life and youth to youth. Now all the world is recreated new. Now every vein and fibre through and through is fraught with spring. The earth is one vast flower, shooting and spreading beneath an eternal bower of joy. The snowdrop putting forth its leaves, a subtle symbol of spring achieves, as life its inward latent force upheaves, and weaves the woof and warp for all the year. Reflections on the water. Through the city stream 1,000 cars a minute, 1,000 cars a minute, going nowhere, reaching no concrete destination. Through the city stream 1,000,000 souls each day, 1,000,000 soulless souls, not knowing where they go, blank-eyed, slow-footed, weary souls, each seeking for what he does not know. Weary pavements, wearied roads, going nowhere, reaching no certain goals. At night the empty, silent streets lament. At night the city is reflected in an evanescent river, glittering, shining, destroyed by the wash. Forgotten ritual, forgotten meaning. Resonant among the candle flames and dust, antiphonal chants raise echoes from silence, disturbances from the still air, where mumbled, guttering prayer is thrust from ancient mouths vindictively. Lustreless these ancient crones, involved in long-remembered psalms, whose mouthing almost wordless is, whose meaning is not dwelt upon by intellects grown lapse and old. Stone, mosaic, and tarnished gold, still slumberings of saints long cold, and mouthless, earless effigies that stare from windows death has breathed upon long, long ago. All reinforce the muted aspects of these ancient crones, while fluted, echoed psalms ascend to God. Palestrina and bird, evoking for uncounted masses a forgotten ritual that for the crones is ritual only, recalling dimly an unremembered frame of reference which was once a living faith, now dying through lack of sustenance, hungry for repentant, anguished souls in an empty, desolated church where the candles are not lit, nor ever will be through futurity and eternality. Were there anyone to be aware of it, which there will not be. Gloria and Agnus Dei, Kyrie and Tuba Mirum, dead and buried ecstasies known only by the holy few. The new ones do not like it. They shut their ears and talk, drowning the sounds of music, cutting off the flame from air, closing down the impotent eyes of effigies that stare. Boat, wind, and tide. The boat drifts in complement to tide and wind on a sea where there is no master, neither tide nor wind nor boat presuming to decide the other's course, but as when a chance scent, expression or certain feature of nature instantly recalls a memory long stored beyond the conscious mind, so by unpremeditated and unwearying catena of cause and effect, boat and wind and tide react and spend and react their motions. To accept what comes when it comes is not to dwell in apathy of will or desire, is not to check one's tongue from rage or hate, but rather by floating with the wind or tide to give the tide and wind a purpose, to take their limits and their creations as you find them, and thus resolve and thus interpret the frame of reference which you inhabit, the sea on which you drift.